First of all, forget how you see it. Because how you see it didn't allow these pussies to be me. Let's go back to the African philosophies that got me this far. Complete mastery of the martial arts system of that society, or my society, or theirs, for each group, was also essential for the office of chief. Because in certain situations, conflicts between societies were ritually resolved through single combat of their chiefs. In other words, if there's a conflict between this society and that society, in a very rough slave era, you put it into its context, right? In an era where there's slavery and plantations and people being whipped and tortured and psychological torture and people being bred and there's hatred and women are being used against them and, turning against each other, using psychology, turn them against each other. Okay, so in a different situation, if you go back to 32, where it talks about how the boys trained informally through mock battle with switches covered in leaves, and then they moved on to the training with the real sticks in Kandeka. You say this is how it is, right? They start off with the kind of softer stuff. You see the kind of, the kid stuff, you see it in American martial arts to a certain degree. And then they move on, to being teenagers training with real sticks, and they're using their transferable skills, and they're focusing on striking the person first, because it really hurts and it really throws you off when you get smacked by a guy who's been training martial arts all his life, whether he's skinny or not. It's going to be painful. It might take you out, might cause permanent brain damage. I can go through the list. So, in this tradition, this ritual, the highest level of manhood, that's why you have these Congo guys walking around with knives. They're like, oh, you're a bitch. Go rear children, if you're not going to carry a knife. So versus people saying, oh, well, we like to take it to the fists. Well, why? It's cultural, but it's not really martial arts, which are weapons. It's one tribe looking at another saying, we're making these kind of primitive weapons, right? And then we're saying, we're going to meet on the battlefield, and it's on. Those are martial arts. Everything else is child's play compared to that. These are the guys who train to go out and kill, and, this is where the religious system is at its most intense. Right there as you see your loved ones and your friends perish before you, as the battlefield can make or break you, it makes or breaks your people. It is the protector. Horus is the protector. He was the main god that civilized Egypt. It was symbolic of you needed this martial arts caste, or class, the king's royal guards, personal guards. You needed these advanced martial artists to civilize this empire. And why did it start here? Because they learned from African martial arts culture. It didn't start in Europe or the Middle East. It started in Africa because they're surrounded by Africans that do martial arts. So one way or another, they had to step their game up. As racist as it might sound or not, the proof is in the pudding. However, just because someone's black doesn't mean they're a better fighter. But at the same time, they're these more warlike cultures versus these people who are more farmer-like, kind of want to avoid trouble and so on. So even, how the conflicts were resolved between the capoeira societies and the way the Igbo societies were more peaceful, okay? A lot of these capoeira societies, and the people, other people doing kandeka, they were smacking on each other with sticks and, doing crescent kicks, carrying blades and stuff, and they had a kind of rough culture. But with the Igbo culture, you have this emphasis on peace, but yet they're holding their ground, and it really boils down to the knives, right? The Congo guy will pull out his knife, and then the Angolan man will pull out his knife, and then the Igbo man will pull out his knife. So on the highest level of the conflict between these martial arts societies, before you get to a kind of higher level of thought in general, so to speak, before you evolve out of that and say, hey, we can do that without killing each other. In certain situations where it regresses is another way to look at it. There's the knives. But if there's no knives, it's the sparring, because it's the same idea. Do I really need to, use those skills I used to spar against you and defeat you to pull out a knife and kill you? And you say, well, it's not the same thing. And then you pull out the knife, and now you got to face somebody who you know can strike you first. And you're like, ah, fuck, it is pretty much the same thing. Not exactly, but close enough to where it's curtains for you. You know, so when you follow this train of thought to its finish, should we let our pride cause people to die? Or should we compete with sparring? And should we do it, you know, Babylon's way? Join the Olympics or some kind of karate tournament or taekwondo? That's them and that's that. You know, when it comes to reality and not the gimmick and not the game and not the media show, when it comes to who is the best in reality, it has to be done this way. Sparring. And don't get it wrong, you know, I have knife demonstrations. You all know I'm lightning fast with this. I have no problem with some dumbass deciding sparring is not good enough and attacking me and, you know, learning the hard way that even when they're drugging me, even when they're fuming me, even when they're dehydrating me, they can't beat me. You know, so when you truly grasp the essence of martial arts and the significance of it to spiritual systems, you know, how could you not see it my way? How could you not be disgusted by what they're doing and how fake it is? It's like, this is the real deal. What the government and the corporate guys are doing is all a joke. You have a lot of these new age ninnies, it's a joke. But this is nature in its finest. The glory of the martial artist, the intense spirituality of the system, that you can go your way with it and adjust it according to your body. You know, and that's part of why these different societies exist. You know, for example, my tribe is big on the grappling. I'm not big on the grappling. You know, the Igbos are big on the grappling, but me personally, I'm not. So I went my way with it. They went their way with it, and they have their like tradition of, you know. But one thing that it has in common is say, okay, when it comes down to proving a point or solving a conflict, let's take it to the essence. You know, we all agree that it's this shared African culture, Congo, Angolan, Igbo. It's like we're taking it to the knife fighting, because this is the essence of the transferable skills. So basically, on the borderlands, you had Igbo cultures that were more fiercely martial because they had to deal with the enemies and to keep them out. But in Igbo culture in general, bloodshedding is abhorrent. I put numbers on the screen to help show you some of the points in the book where they talk about the different knives and their relevance in these different cultures, and how in a certain Congo culture, you know, you don't get respect if you don't at least carry a knife. So this is a pervasive idea, and it shows the transferable skills naturally. But to avoid that for the same kind of, you know, movement of energy and skills, we use sparring. I mean, it's really a no-brainer. And for them to be hiding like bitches, they really can't say nothing about it. I do it naturally too. You know, these motherfuckers didn't have some fancy gym. It's like, meet me in nature, just like these guys did. He did, straight up.